Hi everybody, and welcome along to the big quiz night in. I hope you're all doing well, and welcome to episode 172. This is the second attempt at cross-streaming across multiple platforms. It doesn't look like it's connecting to YouTube for whatever reason tonight. I have tried. It says on one screen it is, but it says on another that it's not. But I am, I believe, on TikTok, and I'm on, of course, Facebook with the usual people watching along. Had a few apologies from the regulars tonight though, so it will be a quieter evening on the live show I think, but do comment along if you are watching. We've got a stacked show as always. I've got Ruben back with me very soon for a kids question. We've got 3 quiz rounds, and then we will also be doing, of course, our game shows at the end of the show. This time we're going to do Our Survey Says, a family fortune style question, followed by a game of Tenable as well. So loads of fun and games. Yes, so with that said, let's move on, shall we, to the first part of the evening where we acknowledge everybody that is in the chat and here today. I don't think, to be honest, I think TikTok doesn't like me because I went live for too long without any activity, so I might not have to do that in future. It's, yeah, not playing ball. It keeps saying that I violated guidelines. I'd like to know what guidelines I violated exactly. But I think it might just be inactivity when the countdown's going along. But this is all a learning curve. At least you're there on Facebook, and if people are watching elsewhere, then great. So we've got Jodie in the chat saying hi everyone. We've got Sue saying good evening all. One down tonight. The one that will know all the answers. I have stopped the music. Yes, I know it does continue for some reason, but I have turned it all off now. Who else we got? Pinky and the Brain are here. Dave is there saying good evening as well. And we've got just me and Pete tonight from the Britzillians. Hello to Vernia. Hope you're all doing good. I have had, yeah, there's apologies in the chat there from Catherine. Also, Millie and Mike have sent their apologies, and Andy as well is not feeling too well, so he's not going to be here this evening. But they have said they will catch up, which is nice. I hope they still comment with how they've got on. With that said, let's go on to the next section of the quiz, shall we? And we'll bring in Ruben. And here's the boy. How are we doing, mate?
Good.
Yeah, all right. Well, for those who don't know then, Ruben's going to ask a question. This is one of the only times for now that I need you to put your guesses in the chat, all right? So we'll bring that question up, he'll read it out, and we'll see if you can get yourself a couple of bonus points to add onto your score for any of the upcoming 3 quiz rounds in this evening's quiz. Here it is. Guess in the chat with this one.
In which country did a volcano erupt today? Holy.
Look at the picture, yeah.
Huge.
Yeah, that was 30,000+ feet high, that was.
I thought it was the other one that went off, that one in a random other place. But
Read this out again for them with the answers.
in which country did a volcano erupt today? Is it A, Hawaii, B, Indonesia, C, Italy, or D, Iceland?
Very good. So, is it A, B, C, or D? Have a guess in the comments for this first question. If you get this right, 2 bonus points for you, and you can add that onto your score for any of our main 3 upcoming quiz rounds. So let me know what you think. We've got Facebook comments coming in. Of course, the chat's not loading on screen, but we'll see to that in a moment. We have got B's being guessed and D's and B's. Another B there. Both Vernia and Peter saying hi, by the way, everyone.
Hello.
Let's just refresh that. I'm gonna do some jiggery pokery here. Right, so with that said, what do we reckon, mate? Should we reveal the answer? We'll see see who's got it right.
It is B.
Indonesia, yes, enormous eruption there. On the Facebook side of things, then we have got Vernia saying B, Jodie saying D, Sue and the Donut said B, Indonesia again from Dave, C from Gabby. So the people that got it right then are Vernia, yeah,
And Sue.
and also
Dave.
Dave wrote out Indonesia rather than saying B. So that's also 2 points for you.
Yeah.
Very well done. Thank you for that, mate. That is seriously impressive, isn't that explosion?
Yes.
Mad.
And it's the classic exit. Well, normally I do water,
Water.
but since it's lava, instead of doing this, I guess I should probably go.
We should get a smoke machine in here and you can disappear in a cloud of smoke.
Wow.
And so here we are then with our subject for this evening. Now, I am going to just try and update the chat so we can get that showing on the screen. Because that's no fun. It means that other people won't be able to see what's going on, but I'm hoping it'll sort itself out in a moment. Now I've done that, I must look into what's going on with that. It's very tricky to test it though without bothering everybody going live all the time with test broadcasts and things. So we have got entertainment tonight, pop music and potluck, 3 different quiz rounds there, 15 questions in each round, and a countdown conundrum to go with each one. Completely unrelated words, but at the same time, you'll get a couple of extra bonus points if you can work that out. If you're watching live, please do not guess in the chat anymore. Because we want it to be a surprise for people at the end of each round what the answers were. So I'll reveal those, and then you can tell me how many you think you got correct. So the first round then is entertainment, 15 questions, 1 point for each correct answer, unless otherwise stated. And question number 1 is, which song by which act became a huge hit when Titanic was released? 1 point for each. Given the fact the chat is playing up a bit, if anybody's dropping in and out on TikTok live, you can feel free to just guess and say what you like in the comments. Because nobody else on the Facebook side will see it, and they're the ones in particular who will not be saying things in the comments for the answers at least. So I don't mind that. I just won't acknowledge if you've got them correct and say that out loud. Question 2. Prior to its cancellation in 2023, who were the last 2 hosts of A Question of Sport? 1 point for each again. Prior to its cancellation in 2023, who were the last 2 hosts of A Question of Sport? That is 1 point for each. Okay. Question number 3 now. Question 3. Which Disney character had a prequel movie released in 2024 that grossed over $700 million? Worldwide box office total. Which Disney character had a prequel movie released in 2024 that grossed over $700 million at the global box office? Question number 4 now. Question 4. Yeah, but no, or yeah, but no, but is a catchphrase first used by which character in which TV series? Yeah, but no, but is a catchphrase first used by which character in which TV series? That's for 2 more points. Question number 5 now. Question 5. In 1977 to 1979, Nicholas Hammond starred as which legendary Marvel superhero in live action, film, and TV? In 1977 to 1979, Nicholas Hammond starred as which legendary Marvel superhero in live action, film, and TV? I don't know if you can hear her, but my cat's going mad outside the door, desperately wanting to come in. Not going to happen. Question number 6 now. Question 6. Put these 1990s movies into the correct order with the earliest released first. 7, Air Force One, and Total Recall. Say that again for you. Put these 1990s movies into the correct order with the earliest released first. 7, Air Force One, and Total Recall. Right, your next question, and question number 7. Martin Riggs was the hero in which series of action films? Martin Riggs was the hero in which series of action films? 1 point for each again for that one. Right, your next question then is question number 8 for 3 more points. Which 3 actresses have been chosen to play Queen Elizabeth II in The Crown? Which 3 actresses were chosen to play Queen Elizabeth II in The Crown? 1 point for each. So 3 different answers there. Okay, question number 9 now. Question 9. In which TV series could you see the Solana Hotel? In which TV series could you see the Solana Hotel? For 1 more point. Question 10. Who are the most recent 3 actors to play Batman in live-action films? Who are the most recent 3 actors to play Batman in live-action films? Of course, 1 point for each again there. Yes, we are definitely doing okay in terms of live broadcasts on TikTok and Facebook, but YouTube is just not playing ball, which is most disappointing. Right. Question 11 now. Question 11. What was the title of the 4th Star Trek film to be released? What was the title of the 4th Star Trek film to be released? Okay, question number 12 now for 2 more points. Which 2 movies have earned Margot Robbie an acting Oscar nomination? Which 2 movies have earned Margot Robbie an acting Oscar nomination? 1 point for each of those. Of course, when we get to the end of the round, if you want me to repeat a question, just let me know. I'll do that for you. It gives everybody a bit more thinking time as well when we do that. So if I rush through these in any way, as I say quite often, just let me know and I'll repeat them at the end. Question 13 now. Question number 13. Which Marvel character went in search of the Legend of the 5 Rings? Which Marvel character went in search of the Legend of the 5 Rings? Question number 14 now. 3 more points for this one. In Friends, what were the names of Ross's monkey, Joey's agent, and Phoebe's brother? In Friends, what were the names of Ross's monkey, Joey's agent, and Phoebe's brother? Just the first names for those ones. 1 point for each again. Keep your eye on that countdown conundrum as well. See if you can work out what that is for a bonus 2 points. Okay, and the final question in this round then. Question 15. Which planets are home to the Doctor from Doctor Who, He-Man, and the Transformers? Which planets are home to the Doctor in Doctor Who, He-Man, and Transformers? 1 point for each there, 3 very different answers again. That brings us to the end of that first round. You have yourself a little bit more thinking time. I'm just going to, while you're having that thinking time, I'm just going to mess around with the chat features again and see if we can get this going. But please do let me know now if you want something repeated, because I will absolutely repeat questions for you. Oh, look at that. See, I do one other little click of a button and now the chat's working. Of course I did. You know what I did? Turned it off and back on again. You'd be amazed in life how many times that helps you. Could you repeat number 1 again, please, says Dave over on Facebook. Absolutely, I can. So, question number 1. Which song by which act became a huge hit when Titanic was released? 1 point for the artist, 1 point for the song title. Apologies for the unfortunate choice of wording there. Huge hit and Titanic. Can I repeat 5 and 13 as well? Gabby says that's fine. Right, question 5. I don't think I've ever asked this kind of question about this particular person in all the years of quizzing I've ever done. In 1977 to 1979, Nicholas Hammond starred as which legendary Marvel superhero in live action, film, and television? I'll talk about it a bit more when I reveal the answer, but that's number 5. So from 77 to 79, Nicholas Hammond played which legendary Marvel superhero? And this was in films and TV. Right, question number 13 as well you wanted. So for Pinky and the Brain. 13, which Marvel character went in search of the Legend of the 5 Rings? I'm just going to check that actually. It might be 10 rings. Let me just check that. Yeah, it's 10 rings. I don't even know why it says 5. Apologies. Legend of the 10 Rings. I'm pretty sure if you put Marvel and rings together, you're going to work it out if you knew the answer. But my apologies. It is, in fact, 10 rings, not 5. I'm sure this round was updated. Anyway, there we go. So those are those repeats for you. Legend of the 10 Rings, then for number 13. What's the name of the Marvel character that went in search of those rings? According to the subtitle of the movie. 2 more points available if you can work out the countdown conundrum. I'm going to reveal the answer in a moment because I'm now going to go through the answers for the main quiz round, this entertainment round. We'll see how many points you've got. Please let me know in the chat how many points you scored. And then we'll move on to the next round. We'll do this all again for a pop music trivia round coming up next. So let's do the answers then, shall we? Question 1, which song by which act became a huge hit when Titanic was released for 2 points? It is My Heart Will Go On by Celine Dion. Question 2, prior to its cancellation in 2023, who were the last 2 hosts of A Question of Sport? It was Paddy McGuinness in its last few years, and before that, for a long time, it was Sue Barker. So you can have 1 point for each of those. Question 3, which Disney character had a prequel movie released in 2024 that grossed over $700 million at the box office? Nobody wanted it, nobody asked for it, but they did it anyway, and it did all right, so fair enough. It was Mufasa. It was called Mufasa, The Lion King. So there you go. Question 4. Yeah, but no, but is a catchphrase first used by which character in which TV series? That was Vicky Pollard in Little Britain. Question 5. In 1977 to 79, Nicholas Hammond starred as which legendary Marvel superhero in live action, film, and television? It was Spider-Man. He was Peter Parker. They had a stuntman obviously playing Spider-Man when it was in the full suit. They did a pilot movie that got released pretty much worldwide, and that then led into a TV series, and then episodes of that they bundled together and released as a sequel, and then a third movie in Europe and the UK, at least. But the rest of it was just TV shows over there. So there you go. Way ahead of its time, combining movies and TV shows into the same canon. Very good. But very much of its time. From what I remember of it, at least. Reruns and repeats when I was much younger. Question 6. Put these 1990s movies into the correct order, with the earliest release first. The correct order for these 3 films: Total Recall was first, that was in 1990, then Seven in 1995, and then Air Force One, 97. You get 1 point for each that's in the correct position. Question 7. Martin Riggs was a hero in which series of films? That was Lethal Weapon, played by Mel Gibson. Question 8. Which 3 actresses were chosen to play Queen Elizabeth II in The Crown for 3 points? Claire Foy, Olivia Colman, and Imelda Staunton. Question 9. In which TV series could you see the Solana Hotel? That one's from Benidorm. Question 10. Who were the most recent 3 actors to play Batman in live-action films? That's Robert Pattinson, Ben Affleck, and Christian Bale. Question 11. What was the title of the 4th Star Trek film released? That was The Voyage Home. Question 12. Which 2 movies have earned Margot Robbie an acting Oscar nomination? It was I, Tonya and Bombshell. She wasn't nominated for Barbie, if you put that, but the movie Barbie was, just not for an acting Oscar for her. Question 13. Which Marvel character went in search of the Legend of the Ten Rings? That was Shang-Chi. Definitely need to see more from that character. That was a really good film. Question 14. In Friends, what were the names of Ross's monkey, Joey's agent, and Phoebe's brother? It's Marcel, the monkey. Joey's agent was Estelle, or Estelle Leonard, to give her a full name. And Phoebe's brother was Frank, or specifically Frank Jr. And question 15. Which planets are home to the Doctor in Doctor Who, He-Man, and Transformers? The Doctor is from Gallifrey. He-Man is from Eternia. You may have heard of Castle Grayskull from He-Man. That's on Eternia. And Transformers are from Cybertron for 3 more points. Now, the answer to the countdown conundrum for 2 extra points for this round is plastered. So 2 points if you got that right. If you managed to get the kids' question right at the start of the show, you could, of course, use that to boost your score for this round. You can save those 2 points and add them on to one of the next 2 rounds if you would like to. So get in the comments then, whether you're watching on Facebook or TikTok, let me know. Yeah, YouTube's definitely not playing ball. Never mind. Try and get that sorted again for next week. It's like a sauna in here tonight, so apologies if I appear to be flagging a bit. I've tried to get the room as cold as I can, cool as I can before I started. But it's very hot, and it's going to get even hotter on the weekend. It's going to be well over 30 degrees Saturday and Sunday, apparently. So I'm glad I'm not going to be in here then. Right, scores are coming in over in Facebook land. We have got Jody saying 7 points. Good effort, well done. 2 plus 16, that's 18 for Dave. Very good. Donuts have got 15, and they got the conundrum there, so 2 more points for them for their total. Pinky and the Brain scored 19 as well. They're plus 2 for the conundrum. Excellent work. And as I mentioned earlier on, a lot of the other regulars can't be here with us tonight, so there would be more scores. But we do have the Brazilians got in a dismal 7, they say, for the questions, but power up to 10 with the kids' question and the conundrum. It's 2 points for both. So you've actually got 11 points. I know we always used to do 1 point for the kids' question, but we do 2 points for them both now. Yeah, so you've got 11 points if you're boosting it up that way. Still, good effort. Well done. Okay, let me know if you're watching on TikTok, if you got any of those right, and what are your favourite kind of subjects that you like to be quizzed on, because it may pop up in a quiz again soon. I'm always interested to hear what people like to be quizzed on as well. If you're not familiar with what I do here, would love to hear your general quiz topics that you like, and it may be in a quiz another time, who knows. But just appreciate the engagements. Okay, Pete says, yes, 11 now. Excellent. Right, let's shift over then to our next round, which is pop music trivia. Okay, so you've got another countdown conundrum on screen now. 2 extra points if you can work out what that conundrum is. Again, of course, if you're watching at least on Facebook, please don't guess that in the comments. We'll let that be a surprise for the end of this round. And 15 more questions, this time pop music trivia. Question number 1. Which duo originally released the hit single called Cecilia? Which duo originally released the hit single called Cecilia? Technically, it's a 1-point question because it's normally 1 point for the act or group that released it. So it does say here I should give 2 points from when I posted this before, but I think this is just a 1-point question really, because it's the name of the duo that they're very famously known as. Just to clear that up, it's a 1-point question. I'll be amazed if you can remember one and not the other. That would be a very unfortunate position to be in with this. Question 2. Which punk rock singer was backed by the Blockheads? Which punk rock singer was backed by the Blockheads? That's question 2 for another point. Okay, question number 3 now. Question 3. Which acts had the best-selling 1960s singles called Hello Goodbye, Pretty Flamingo, and The Last Waltz? Which acts had the best-selling 1960s singles called Hello Goodbye, Pretty Flamingo, and The Last Waltz? Question number 4. Which singer was the first winner of the X Factor in 2016? That's the UK version of the show, just in case we've got anybody watching from elsewhere. Which singer was the very first winner of the X Factor in 2016? All right. The next question then, question number 5. Which 3 acts teamed up with Lulu, Vic Reeves, and Tammy Wynette to have 1990s hit singles? 1 point for each. Which 3 acts teamed up with Lulu, Vic Reeves, and Tammy Wynette to have 1990s hit singles? Right. Next question. Question number 6. Which acts had the best-selling 1970s singles called Le Freak, I Feel Love, and Superstition? Which acts had the best-selling 1970s singles called Le Freak, I Feel Love, and Superstition? 1 point for each again. Question number, where are we now? Question number 7. Which singer sang One More Night during the 1980s? Which singer sang One More Night during the 1980s? Question number 8 now. Question 8. The hit albums called Jollification and Dizzy Heights were UK hits for which 1990s band? The hit albums called Jollification and Dizzy Heights were UK hits for which 1990s band? All right, the next question, and question number 9, we're on to the 80s now. Which acts had the best-selling 1980s hit singles called Goody Two Shoes, All By Myself, and One Day I'll Fly Away? Which acts had the best-selling 1980s hit singles called Goody Two Shoes, All By Myself, and One Day I'll Fly Away? 3 different acts again there, so 1 point for each that you can guess correctly. And that's question number 9 in our pop music round. Question 10. Which pop star took One More Try into the UK singles chart of 1988? Which pop star took One More Try into the UK singles chart of 1988? Very famous pop stars, particularly through the 80s. Question 11 now. Question 11. Which Beatles song was a UK hit single for Earth, Wind and Fire? Which Beatles song was a UK hit single for Earth, Wind and Fire? Question number 12 now, this one's for 3 points. Question 12. Which 3 acts had the best-selling 1990s singles called Blaze of Glory, Biamos, and Justify My Love? 3 different artists or groups again now. Which 3 acts had the best-selling 1990s singles called Blaze of Glory, Biamos, and Justify My Love? Okay, nearly there now. Question 13 for this round. Which pop group did it one more time in 2003? Which pop group did it one more time in 2003? Question 14. Elton John featured on which 3 UK #1 singles during the 90s? Elton John featured on which 3 UK #1 singles during the 90s? Of course, that's 1 point for each again. All right, and question number 15 now. Question 15. Which act had the best-selling noughties singles called Boom Boom Pow, The Promise, and When Love Takes Over? 1 point for each. Which acts had the best-selling noughties singles called Boom Boom Pow, The Promise, and When Love Takes Over? For 3 points. Have a think about that one then. Let me know now if you would like a question repeated. And then once we've gone through any of those, we will, of course, go through the answers and see how well you've done in this round. And the countdown conundrum's worth an extra 2 points, don't forget. If you can work that out, you give yourself 2 more points. Whilst you're having a little bit of thinking time then, just a reminder that in the description of every video I post elsewhere, if you're watching on Facebook and YouTube, in theory, when you are, there is a link which will take you to all the places where you can support me across other social medias if you are interested. And if you're watching on TikTok, just give us a follow before you move on and then go back and have a look later. I would appreciate it. Happy to take requests from anyone that follows in that respect. Right, we've got some repeat requests in 6, 14 and 9, so I'll go through them in order. So 6 for Sue and the Donuts team. Question 6 was, which acts had the best-selling 1970s singles called Le Freak, I Feel Love and Superstition? For Jodie, we've got question 9 being requested. Which act had the best-selling 1980s hit singles called Goody Two Shoes, All By Myself, and One Day I'll Fly Away? And question 14, back with the donuts for this one. Elton John featured on which 3 UK #1 singles during the 90s? Again, 1 point for each. Any more for any more, do let me know now. Next up is a potluck round. That means it's general knowledge, so 15 questions on random subjects. Anything can go in that round. And we'll have another conundrum for you too. And then we can get into the game shows rounds. All right, let's go through the answers then for the pop music trivia round. Question 1, which duo originally released the hit single called Cecilia, which led to the far superior cover by Suggs, which I love? It's Simon and Garfunkel for 1 point. Question 2, which punk rock singer was backed by the Blockheads? It was Ian Dury and the Blockheads, who a few years ago, after he died, Phil Jupitus sang with them for a time. I don't know if it was just for a festival or something, maybe a bit longer than that, but he replaced Ian Dury for a time at least. Question 3, which acts had the best-selling 1960s singles called Hello, Goodbye, Pretty Flamingo, and The Last Waltz? It is The Beatles, Manfred Mann, and Engelbert Humperdinck. Question 4, which singer was the very first winner of the X Factor in 2016? Steve Brookstein. Question 5, which 3 acts teamed up with Lulu, Vic Reeves, and Tammy Wynette to have 1990s hit singles? It was Take That with Lulu, Vic Reeves and the Wonder Stuff, and the KLF and Tammy Wynette. Question 6, which act had the best-selling 1970s singles called Le Freak, I Feel Love, and Superstition? It is Chic, Le Freak, Donna Summer with I Feel Love, and Stevie Wonder with Superstition. Question 7, which singer sang One More Night during the 80s? That was Phil Collins. Question 8, the hit albums called Jollification and Dizzy Heights were UK hits for which 90s band? The Lightning Seeds. Question 9, which act had the best-selling 80s hit singles called Goody Two Shoes, All By Myself, and One Day I'll Fly Away? It is Adam and the Ants with Goody Two Shoes, Eric Carmen with All By Myself, and One Day I'll Fly Away by Randy Crawford. Question 10, which pop star took one more try into the UK singles charts in 1988? That was George Michael. Question 11, which Beatles song was a UK hit single for Earth, Wind and Fire? It was Got to Get You Into My Life. Question 12, which 3 acts had the best-selling 1990 singles called Blaze of Glory, Biomorse, and Justify My Love? That's John Bon Jovi, Enrique Iglesias, and Madonna. Question 13, which pop group did it one more time in 2003? That was Daft Punk. Question 14, Elton John featured on which 3 UK #1 singles during the 90s? It is Sacrifice, Don't Let the Sun Go Down on Me, and Candle in the Wind. Question 15, which acts had the best-selling noughty singles called Boom Boom Pow, The Promise, and When Love Takes Over? It is the Black Eyed Peas, Girls Aloud, and David Guetta. So 1 point for each of those. The answers for the countdown conundrum is culminate. Did you get that one right? 2 points if you did for that one countdown conundrum. And then, of course, 1 point for each of the correct answers you got through that round. Let me know what your team scores are now in the comments. And then we will move on to the potluck round next. Trying to think if there's anything else I could waffle on about today, but not really. Not really. Normally I've got other things to tell you, but I don't think I have. Jodie's got 12 points for that round. Nice one. Well done for that. It's a good score. Who else can let me know their scores? Jump in the comments. 20 points for Dave. Excellent score, but did not get the conundrum this time. Unlucky. Still very good score for the round. 13 for Vernia plus the conundrum. So that's Brazilians. Well done. Pinky in the Brain got 14 plus 2 for the conundrums. And the Donuts got 22 points, but no conundrums. Okay. Good effort all. It was a trickier conundrum in fairness, and there was some tricky questions in that round, I think. There's some that I've never heard of before. One More Night by Phil Collins. I don't think I'd ever heard that one before. And the George Michael one as well, I wasn't too sure on. One More Try. I would never have got that one either. Just to name a couple there. The rest of them probably got most of the others, I think. Most. But yeah, those two in particular. Not sure. Oh, and the Beatles one as well. Covered by Kool and the Gang. Oh, Earth, Wind and Fire, sorry. Yeah, I'd never got that one either. Interesting. Okay, let's go on then to potluck, shall we? And another countdown conundrum is there for you. 2 more points if you get that one right, as always. And we move on to the potluck round then. 15 more questions on general knowledge, so 1 point for each again. So, question number 1. What name is given to the device that is used to tie the neckerchief of Cubs and Scouts? What name is given to the device that is used to tie the neckerchief of Cubs and Scouts? The KLF were brilliant. Yes, they had some good tunes. I would have got that one. Yeah. Question number 2. Whereabouts would you wear a cummerbund, a snood, and winkle pickers? 1 point for each. Whereabouts would you wear a cummerbund, a snood, and winkle pickers? Question number 3 now. What is the constellation of stars as known as Ursa Major, better known as? There are technically there's 2 names for it, so 1 point for either or. What is the constellation of stars known as Ursa Major, better known as? Question 4. What was the name of the land first visited by Gulliver on his travels? What was the name of the land first visited by Gulliver on his travels? For 1 point. All right, then your next question. Question number 5 for 3 more points. Which car makers currently make the Viva, the Ibiza, and the Pulsar? Which car makers made the Viva, the Ibiza, and the Pulsar for 3 points? Question number 6 now. Question 6. In which body of water is the Mariana Trench? In which body of water is the Mariana Trench? Question number 7 then for 2 more points. Which properties are either side of jail on a UK Monopoly board? Which properties are either side of jail on a UK Monopoly board? Question number 8 now. Question 8. Spell the word pneumonia. Correctly spell the word pneumonia for question 8. Question number 9 now. Question 9. What does the acronym KCB stand for if presented by the King? What does the acronym KCB stand for if presented by the King? 1 point for each again. KCB, no relation to the KLF. You get 1 point for each correct word there, though, for KCB. Question number 10. Which seeds are ground to make the paste called tahini? Which seeds are ground to make the paste called tahini? Okay, question number 11 now. Question 11. Armand Duplantis recently broke which athletic world record for the 12th time in June 2025? Armand Duplantis recently broke which athletic world record for the 12th time this month? Which event was it? Question number 12 now. Question 12 for 3 more points. Casablanca, Kathmandu, and Zanzibar are cities in which 3 countries? Casablanca, Kathmandu, and Zanzibar are cities in which 3 countries? Oh, hello to the neighbours again. Thanks for tuning in. On the old TikTok land. Question 13 then. Question 13. True or false? Approximately 1/4 of human bones are in the feet. True or false? Approximately 1/4 of human bones are in your feet. Right. 2 more questions left in this round then, and then we can move on to our game shows round. Question 14. Which 2 ancient Roman cities were destroyed by Mount Vesuvius erupting in 79 AD? 1 point for each, I'll give you there. Which 2 ancient Roman cities were destroyed after Mount Vesuvius erupted in 79 AD? Yes, if you're watching on TikTok, feel free to guess in the comments. I won't say what you've said, but if you want to guess there, you can. I won't say what you've said because the people over on the Facebook side of things do not want the answers spoiled for them before we get to the end of the round. But for the sake of getting more comments and engagements, you can say what you want to within reason over in TikTok land, okay? At least until the combined chat works, which it's not again this week, of course. But I'll get there. Right, question 15, the final question for you. Question 15. Who wrote the best-selling spy novels called The Quiet American, The Night Manager, and Stormbreaker? 1 point for each, 3 different authors. Who wrote the best-selling spy novels called The Quiet American, The Night Manager, and Stormbreaker? 1 point for each. That's the end of the round then. Let me know if you were here from the beginning. If you want any questions repeated, then I can do that for you. I can repeat a few questions before we reveal the answers. And of course, have a guess at what you think the conundrum is there on screen. If you can unscramble those letters to spell a 9-letter word, you get 2 points for working that out. So we've got a minute or two left before I reveal that, because I'll say what that is at the end of the answers being read out to you. So anybody else want a question repeated, let me know now. This is the last quiz round before we move on to our game shows. Tonight we're going to be doing, as I said earlier, a Family Fortunes question like we did last week, and then we're going to do Tenable, which we didn't do last week. Last week we did Catchphrase. I try to alternate those games, so it's a little bit different every week. So we're back doing Tenable questions later on for the last little portion of the show. We've got 3 of those, and they were chosen by Abby as well. So my daughter's passed on these lists. She did the research for me. I put them all on, and we shall see how well you guys do with these top 10 lists in that Tenable round. But that's later. For now, though, I want to know, anybody need any questions repeated in this round? Because I am about to go through the answers. I'll keep an eye out for comments. You've got a few more seconds, and if I don't see any pop up, then we'll move straight on to the answers for this round. Okay, let's go, shall we? Right. So question number 1 then in the potluck round was, what name is given to the device that's used to tie a neckerchief of Cubs and Scouts? It's called a woggle. W-O-G-G-L-E, a woggle. Question 2, whereabouts would you wear a cummerbund, a snood, and a winkle picker or winkle pickers? You would wear a cummerbund around your waist, typically when you're wearing a tuxedo or similar. A snood is worn around your neck, and winkle pickers are on your feet. So waist, neck, and feet for 3 points. Question 3, what is the constellation of stars known as Ursa Major, better known as it is the Great Bear or the Plough? Either or, 1 point for each. 1 point for either of those. Question 4. What is the name of the land first visited by Gulliver on his travels? That is Lilliput. Question 5. Which car manufacturer has made the Viva, the Ibiza, and the Pulsar? 1 point for each again. It is Vauxhall, Seat, and Nissan. Question 6. In which body of water is the Mariana Trench? That is in the Pacific Ocean. Question 7. Which properties are either side of jail on a UK Monopoly board? It's Pentonville Road and Pall Mall for 2 points. Question 8. Spell the word pneumonia correctly. It is P-N-E-U-M-O-N-I-A. I'll put it in the Facebook chat side of things, and then it'll pop up on screen as well, in theory. Right, question number 9 then. What does the acronym KCB stand for if presented by the King? It's Knight Commander of the Bath. Knight Commander of the Bath. Question 10, that's for 3 points, by the way, if you've got all the words, Knight Commander and Bath. Question 10, which seeds are ground to make the paste called tahini? That's sesame seeds. Question 11, Armand Duplantis recently broke which athletic world record for the 12th time in June 2025? It is the pole vault. He's incredible and quite sneaky as well, because what he does, he knows he can jump higher, but every tournament he goes to around the world, he just raises the bar by like a centimetre, because he knows if he wins in every tournament ever he goes, each time he does it, he gets 100 grand. So there's no point in going for the highest you can possibly go. He just goes a little bit higher. Nobody can jump as high as him on the pole vault. Nobody. So he just goes a little bit higher every time and gets 100 grand from the sponsorship money and prize winnings alone. Genius. Very impressive, and a very sneaky tactic. That's why he's broken it 12 times, his own record, that is. So the next question then is question 12. Casablanca, Kathmandu, and Zanzibar are cities in which 3 countries Casablanca is in Morocco, Kathmandu is in Nepal, and Zanzibar is in Tanzania. Question 13. True or false? Approximately 1/4 of human bones are in your feet. It's true. There are 52 bones in your feet, and there are 206 in the whole body, so it is approximately 1/4. Question 14. Which two ancient Roman cities were destroyed by Mount Vesuvius when it erupted in 79 AD? Pompeii and Herculaneum, for 2 points. Question 15 now. Who wrote the best-selling spy novels called The Quiet American, The Night Manager, and Stormbreaker? Those novels were written by Graham Greene, John le Carre, and Anthony Horowitz. Anthony Horowitz, for 3 points. Right, here we go with the answer for the countdown conundrum. On screen now. Antitoxin was the tricky one, I think, wasn't it? Let us know if you got that one. You get 2 points if you did, and a point for everything else you got correct, as always. So tally them all up, and let's start seeing those scores rolling in from those who've played the whole round there. And then we can move on to our game shows round. We'll see how many of you get them right. We've got a superhero-themed question for our game show round for Family Fortunes. But an easier one, I think. An easier one. Don't worry if you don't like superhero stuff. It'll be relatively easy to get, I'm sure. And it'll be the full list of 8 answers this time as well. We shall see in a moment how well you get on. Jodie's in the chat. She's got 7 points for that one. I think that's quite consistent, isn't it? 7. And where is it? 7. Yeah, same as your previous scores, or at least one of them. The donut scored 20, including the kids' question. Yes, this is the last chance to add on your bonus from Rue's question earlier on, which we included in tonight's quiz. So yes, do use that if you haven't already. So well done for remembering, put that on there. So 20 points including that result. Pinky and the Brain have got 18 plus 2. Pete says the Brazilians have got 20 plus 2 for the conundrum. Little less dismal. And Dave says 17 points there as well. Very well done. Good scores. Any more for any more? Feel free to keep commenting. I'll always give you shout outs with those kind of comments and things, so carry on. But let's go over to Family Fortunes now, shall we? So, your question is on screen already. From this point forward, regular viewers will know this already. You are now playing all as one team, okay? And your mission now is to get all of these 8 answers from this survey of 100 people as quickly as you can. So, name a male superhero who has appeared in multiple movies. Plenty to choose from, but what do you think the top answers are here? Name a male superhero who has appeared in multiple movies. The superhero name, all their secret identity. I mean, I've got the superhero names here, but I do obviously know the other alter egos they're known as. So have a guess, and we'll start revealing them no matter where you're watching. I'm monitoring both chats now, of course, and great answers coming in already, so be quick with your guesses. Alrighty then, let's make a start, shall we? Dave says Iron Man straight away. Where's that in the list? Let's have a look, shall we? That's number 6. Off to a good start there, Iron Man. Then we've got... what's next? Superman. Pete says Superman for the Brazilians. I'm sure others have said it as well. I'll acknowledge those as we go. That is at the 3rd spot there. Spider-Man. We've mentioned Spider-Man a couple of times, I think, tonight as well, haven't we? Spider-Man is surely there somewhere. Let's have a look. Number 2. Good work there, Jodie. Hulk. Yeah, Gabby says Spider-Man as well. We've got, let's do Hulk next. Is Hulk in the list? Hulk's had a fair few appearances. Doesn't have to be a standalone movie. That's number 8. Good going. Right, what else have we got here? We've got Spider-Man there, Batman. Everybody else saying Batman now, so we've got Dave, Gabby, Pete, Sue, all saying Batman. Let's see where that is in the list. Surely that is there too. Number 1, that's the top answer. Very good. Very good. We've got Captain America guest now as well. Of course, Captain America, technically two different characters have now become or been Captain America. So we would count all of those for the superhero Captain America. And that is at number 4 in the list. So 2 more to get, number 5 and number 7. Very, very, very gettable, famous superheroes. I would say one of them is an Avenger. The other one is from a different franchise, but still Marvel, without giving it away. We're looking for male superheroes, so not Wonder Woman. Also Black Panther, good guess, but that's not there either, I'm afraid. Not Black Panther. I imagine if we did more than 8, that would be very soon after, because he was in a fair few as well. Who could it be? Have a think, please. Some more guesses needed. Name a male superhero who has appeared in multiple movies. Jodie's gone with Wolverine, of course, famously played by Hugh Jackman. Is that one of the missing ones? Yes, that's number 5. And Gabby says Thor. Thor is the missing answer, not Loki, although again, Loki, superhero? That's certainly more of an anti-hero maybe later on. Maybe would have been in the list if we go further down again. No, not Green Lantern, but no, as you can see now, the complete list has been discovered. Yes, so Batman, Spider-Man, Superman, Captain America, Wolverine, Iron Man, Thor, and Hulk. Good going. Speed through that one quite quickly. Excellent work. So what we're going to do now then is go down to our next game, which is, of course, our Tenable game. So let's crack on with that, shall we? So we're on to Tenable now. I'll just get my screen sorted my side. And I think we're good to go now. Let's bring up your first one. So your first question, again, keep guessing in the comments. If you're watching live, please do keep guessing in the comments. Now, this is going to be the challenging one because I've now got to monitor 2 different chats that aren't in the same screen. But I don't think there's much going on in TikTok land right now, so it might be all right. Let me see. There we go. Right, top 10 carnivorous animals. So basically, this is by the amount of meat they consume per year relative to their body size. So the most carnivorous of creatures on Earth. Okay, so start guessing then, and I'll reveal them, of course, as we go. In fact, I've had a bright idea. Oh. Is that going to work? Now we're talking. I think. Yes, we are good. Right, I've sorted it. Now, some good guesses coming in. Tiger, lion, hyena. Let's have a look, shall we? Where could they be in the list? You'd think some of them are there, wouldn't you? Let's do tiger first. Is tiger in the list? Tigers are number 6. Very good. Well done, Pete. Dave says lion and then hyena. So let's go. Where's lion? If tigers are there, lion's got to be there somewhere, hasn't it? And it is... Oh. What's it doing? There we go. I might stop there. Okay, there we go. Good one. That is there. That's number 1 in the list. What about hyenas? Is hyenas going to be there, I wonder? Let's check that one as well. I'm just checking. Is the sound working for you guys? Let me know if the sound's working when I play the game for you. Hyenas is going to be checked now. And then the next one, let me see what's next. Wolf. Let's have a look. Good guess. Okay, that's gone to number 2 in the list. Now, another one we had in there. Buffalo, bears, alligator. Let's have a look. Let's check all 3 of those and you'll see which ones pop up. Buffalo, bears, or alligator. No, none of them are there. Let me just check I'm not missing anything. Alligator, polar bear, no sound. I didn't think so. I didn't think so. How very strange. There's a couple of things that have perhaps disappeared that shouldn't have. All right, that's fine. I'll address that for next time. Okay, right. So we got some more guesses then. Let's think that I didn't specify land animals, so do think about the whole world, okay? The whole world when it comes to carnivorous animals. I did not specify land animals, so some of them might be sea and or land, but no, bears, alligator, and polar bear aren't there. You're very close though. Sharks though, sharks. Let's have a look. Where's that in the list? And there we go. Sharks is number 3. Well done to Gabby and Jodie. Thank you for having a guess there. Any more for any more? Oh, we've got whales and a fox. Let's have a look. Whales and foxes, are they there? Either of those? No. What have we got left? Can I give you some clues? Think Arctic animals, but not a polar bear. We know that's not there. There's one that flies. There's well, I would say there's 3 animals you more likely find in Arctic kind of temperatures, perhaps, or at least colder temperatures. Without narrowing down the specific parts of the world, is a vulture there? Let's have a look. Not humans, no. Not humans. We're thinking a bit wide, more traditional sense animals. Jackal. Let's have a look. Is a jackal there? Hippos is a no as well, although they do kill more than some of them on the list. They do kill more humans. Approximately 500 people every year die from hippo attacks, but they don't eat people in that sense. And they're not also one of the top 10 most carnivorous of animals. Good guess, though. Certainly one of the most dangerous, which a lot of people don't realise. You certainly wouldn't want to get in the way of one. Gabby said the leopard. Is leopard one of them? Yeah, you know what? I'm going to give you that. It's snow leopard. But yeah, leopard is on there. There's no other kind of leopard on the list, but snow leopard is. So we'll give you that one. Rhinos. I don't think rhinos are carnivorous. I don't think they are. No, again, certainly you wouldn't want to get in its way. Right, let me give you some more clues. So we've got 2 more that you would find in and out of the water. And you've got one that's similar to a guess we've already had. And then another flying one, but not a vulture. We've got snake and jaguar being guessed. Interesting guesses there. But no. So 4 and 5 in the list. One of them may be discovered now. Let's have a look. Pete's gone with seals. Seals are carnivorous. Let's see where they are in the list. Are they there? Number 4. Excellent. Oh, we've got a crocodile and an eagle guessed. Let's have a look at these ones. We've got some good guesses coming in now. Let's have a look. Number 7 is crocodiles. And I can tell you now, number 8 is eagles. 1 more to go. You wouldn't normally think of them as carnivorous. However, now you've seen seals on the list, what other creature goes in and out of the water and probably eats a lot of fish? And random trivia that you don't really care about, but I'm going to say it anyway because you might remember me saying this before and it'll give you another clue. My personal favourite animal. Most definitely. The ones I want to see whenever we go to a wildlife park or a zoo or anything like that. That's what I want to see. That's why I'm going there. Not piranhas, no. Gabby says penguins. Let's have a look. Oh, the manatee as well. It's penguins. Yay, penguins. There you go. There's your full list. The 10 most carnivorous animals by meat eaten per year in the world. Lions are top. Yeah, not dolphins. To be fair, dolphins and killer whales, I imagine, aren't far behind. But those are the top 10. All right, so next one's then the longest, the top 10 longest rivers in the world. Now, I think some of these are a bit obscure and very rarely ever come up in quizzes. So I'll forgive you for not getting them. But if you do, fair play. But I'm not going to give you a massive amount of time for this one because I know some of these are going to be very tricky to get. I know I don't think I've ever said some of these in quizzes, and that's been a very long time of hosting quizzes. So the top 10 longest rivers in the world, straightforward. You don't need any more explanation than that. Male lions don't eat much. No, but lions, plural, certainly do. So that's what puts them onto the list, I think, because it's lions, not male lions specifically. Right. We've got the Nile and Mississippi and Missouri being guessed. Let's bring up the list then. So I think technically it's river systems, by the way. So if one flows into another, it's still classed as one system. So I think Mississippi and Missouri were part of the same answer, but certainly Mississippi is there. So I'll bring that up now for you. Yes, lots of great guesses. Well done, guys. The Congo's been guessed as well. Let's have a look. That is, of course, in Africa. That's there. The Yangtze as well, another great guess. Let's bring that up in the list there. And then we can also look at Amazon, because if we've got the Nile, well, the Amazon must be up the top there as well, mustn't it? So we can now reveal that is number 2. The Yellow River in China, second only to the Yangtze in the region. Let's bring that up. Good guess again. Let me go back to the chat again and see. Is there any others that have been guessed that I've missed there? No. Right. So now we've got to the point where... See, Danube is a good guess. Let's check the list, though. There is 5, 7, 8, and 10. Yeah, we have very quickly got to the point where I thought we would get to very quickly. So now it's getting a lot more obscure. So not Danube. Orange in South Africa is the Orange River in South Africa there. Let's have a look. Not quite there, no. We have got one more in South America. We've got 2 in Russia. 1, 2, well, technically 3 in Russia, but one's on the Russia-China border. 2 others actually in Russia. One is... Dave's smashing this one. Look at this. Parana River. Let's have a look. Number 8 in the list will be Parana. That's in South America. This is massive. I mean, it's obviously not as big as the ones above it, but it flows through at least 3 countries in South America. Enormous river system. Right, so 5, 7, and 10. So 5 and 7 are both in Russia, and 10 is on the border of Russia and China. It forms a natural border between the 2 countries. So... let's check. Orinoco is being guessed. I think that was said whilst I was giving you the other criteria there. No, and Volga as well. No. This is a tricky one, isn't it? Like I said, I might just skip past these ones and show you what the answers are, because I don't want to keep you waiting. But we do have one more to do after this that Abby has recommended to us, I think. Yinzi can't remember the spelling. Yes. Yeah, I guess I'll give you that, because it's not quite that. It's got 2 parts to the name. I think this is the one you mean, anyway. There's the, or maybe not. It's spelled a little bit differently, isn't it? Irtish. There's the Ob Irtish, but it's mainly called the Ob. So I think Irtish is another word for river, but Ob is in Russia. So the one at 5 might be the one you meant, because that is Yenisei. So I'll give you that one, not Yinsei. It might be pronounced a bit differently, but it's spelled Yenisei. But yeah, good knowledge. The tiger, is that the last one in the list? It is not number 10. It is on the Russia-China border. It forms a natural border between two countries. I'm just going to show you what this one is, and we're going to move on. But well done for sort of, very closely, Dave, getting the Russian one. The last one is the river Amur, on the Russia-China border. There you go. All right. Last one then. Or did we already do that? Was that 3 already? No, of course we haven't. This one. I'm getting ahead of myself there. Top 10 most common flowers in the UK. Nice one to finish on, with it being summer and everything now. Top 10 most common flowers in the UK. I think we can get these ones quite quickly. If you live in the UK, of course. So start your guesses. What do you think they are? Yes, well done, Dave. Good geography knowledge there on the rivers. All right, daffodil and rose have been guessed straight away. Let's have a look. Where's daffodil on the list? The daffodil is number 2. And roses. Let's have a look. Where's that going? Roses is the top one. The most popular, the most common. Dahlias. Is dahlia there? It is not. Not in the top 10. Daisies. Gabby's guessed daisy. We'll check pansy after this one. Daisies is number 5. Is pansy in the list? No. No. Chrysanthemums. This is a lovely guess. Let's have a look if that's there. Don't worry about the spelling. I don't think I could spell that off the top of my head either. But then I get vowels mixed up in most words, so I can't help with that. No, so it's not there though. Poppies. Let's check poppies now. Oh, there we go. Poppies is there. Tulips. Is tulips there? So poppies, well done, Jodie. Gabby says tulips. Yes. Vernia says foxgloves. There may have been some others who said that as well. Foxgloves. Excellent work there. Just make sure I didn't miss any above. No, right. Bluebells and sunflowers are next. Okay, so bluebells. Bluebells are there. They're number 3. Sunflowers go. Whereabouts sunflowers? Are they even on the list? I wonder. Let's check. That's number 6. Okay, 2 more left. Is dandelions one of them? Technically a weed. Not there. No. One of them that's left over sounds a bit like number 1 in the list, but with extra letters. Jodie says snowdrops. Snowdrops is number 10. All right. 1 left to find to bring us to the end of Big Quiz Night in episode 172. Can you work out what number 9 is, which is similar, but with extra letters to number 1? There are some letters before it. Let's see. Surely somebody knows what this one is. I would argue some of your other guesses have gone before that, to be honest. Not hollyhocks, but you may have messaged me that before hearing the clues. Oh, interesting. We've got rose hip and primrose. Let's have a look. One of those is the correct answer. It's primroses. Very good, everybody. Well done. And that brings us to the end of our top 10 tenable round. Good stuff. Let's move on, shall we? Okay, then. So that is the end of another big quiz night in. Thank you all for sticking with me. Hopefully, I can sort out some of the other little problems we had in terms of where I'm broadcasting to in the chat. It's like I said, it's very difficult to find time to test a live broadcast because, at least from a YouTube and a TikTok perspective, you actually have to go live to make sure it's working. Whereas on Facebook, I can go live to the system on Facebook side and then press a button to officially go live. So I don't always have to bother you on Facebook with notifications when I'm not actually doing anything that needs your attention. But on others, I have to, and it's a bit annoying. So anyway, it's all a bit of fun and games, and I think I really appreciate you all for joining in. I'm glad Facebook Live was fine for you guys. Yeah, it's all technical stuff on my side. It's all a learning curve, and we're getting there. Point is, we did a quiz and we had some fun, and it was great to chat to you all. And I'm glad you were here for it, whether you watched on whatever platform. And don't forget, if you watched a repeat of this at any point, I always welcome your comments. So please do feel free to leave a comment and like and subscribe and all that good stuff before you move on. Make sure you've done that because it all helps out to help push and promote the quiz. So we need to talk Patreon-wise. We need to talk about when the next meetup is. Andy and Millie and Mike aren't on at the minute, so I'm sure they'll have an opinion. Maybe we've spoken about it already. I forget now. But please do let me know if you'd like to come down at the King's Head and Bell in Abingdon, which is where I do my pub quizzes every Thursday and Sunday. Would be great to see you. Just drop me a message if you want any more details about that for those who don't know. Thank you all for watching. Time to go. I am so very warm in this office. So the only problem with doing quizzes in the summer, I'm going to go cool off, maybe chuck myself into a cold shower. But it's been a pleasure. I'll see you all same time next time for more of the same fun. Cheers. Good night.